And we are back with our final series of the night. A series that has a decent amount on the line. It's going to be Spirit taking on One Move with a win here for Spirit. They'll book their ticket to the Bali Major. And for One Move with a win here, they'll secure a spot in Division 1 for the next tour. If they lose, however, then we will guarantee tiebreakers for at least relegation.
Yes, between between Hydra and One Move, with the potential for Namiga to be there as well, depending on their later results on future days. I'm a little disappointed that you didn't comment on my outfit change. You know, Bali Major.
I just noticed now.
The potential options for it. I mean, you got to get Festive and Team Spirit. They can lock in a top 2 placing, I believe, if they get this win as well. So, lots of valuable DPC points. Of course, their path to TI still isn't secured. First place goes a lot further towards securing that, but, you know, you got to take every game on its merits.
Is it top 2?
They will be guaranteed top 2, yes, because the other 2 have already lost one, and they have to play each other. So.
Yep. Very smart. You've done your homework. I respect it. Well done.
I wasn't just picking my outfit, you know. I spent my 50 minutes wisely. I had some ravioli. I had a look at all the different permutations, and I looked a little nice, you know.
Looked a little nice. You got any other nice fancy t-shirts? Fancy shirts?
We'll have to wait and see. I want it to be a surprise when I break them out.
Okay. We'll leave that one for a surprise. Maybe I'll have to go to the store and buy some floral, some crazy pattern shirts just to
this was
just
for a
to
New
look
Year's
like
party.
you.
It was like a tiki themed party, so I was like, JJ's had 2 for $10, and I was like, let's go.
JJ's is, you can never go wrong. Very, very cheap. So easy purchase as we do hopefully get ourselves underway. It looks like we got all the boys connecting. I didn't say priority. Did you say priority?
Spirit chose second pick.
Second pick. All right. Well, there you go. Spirit going to be playing second pick with Dyer. One Move Radiant with first pick as well. For One Move, they started off very well, didn't they, Danog? They were 2-0. And they have lost every single series since then. 4 series in a row they have lost. Something is not clicking for these boys. Of course, there's a lot of star power on this team, though, from One Move. I mean, you've got some experience with Afterlife. I mean, Gilgear as well, being around the block with Hellraisers. And then, of course, you got some of that young talent still with Munkushi, Ankrad, and your Pantomime. Really, for me, been very impressed with Ankrad. We mentioned Warwick with that recent series with Hydra. Like, even though they've been losing, Warwick's look really good. I think the same should be said for Ankrad as well. I think even in the losses for One Move, Ankrad has been had stellar performances.
Yes. All right. So, I don't think anyone should be wanting to play against Spirit in the late game, just because they've got all the experience in the world. They're one of the best late game teams in the world, in my opinion, just with how they move around the map, especially Miposhka. Some of his late game calls and positioning is just next level. And One Move where they've looked best, for me, is when they just get on the front foot and continue to go. I think that's where Gilgear really thrives. I think Munkushi has the potential to play that style as well. You know, he plays the Juggernaut, the Alchemist. These sorts of heroes can look to get active perhaps a little bit earlier than some of the other ones. So I really want to see them pick up something like a Beastmaster, for example, with this first overall pick, and then just look to support it with something else that just lets them keep the tempo going. Like a CM wouldn't hate that either. Like CM Beastmaster, fine enough first 2 picks for me.
So Techies also should probably just be mentioned with one of the heroes that's still left in the pool and that we see first picked often. So there's still, of course, plenty for One Move. I'm kind of surprised they're using a lot of the reserve time. A lot of the first phase is, at least the bans in the first pick is often already worked out.
So obviously the Techies is good for all the reasons that I just mentioned, right? Like you don't need much to do a lot on Techies. You just need levels. You know, once you're level 6, you feel like you're truly unlocked. Remaining. Level 8 is like your peak power spike. You know, 1 value point of the taser, you know, 4 point sticky bomb, 2 points blast off. Great. I think another value thing to it as well is that if they are going to go into this like a little bit more hyper-aggressive style, Techies is one of those supports that actually can look to halt that if you let it through to the other team. You know, if they have a Techies, it's just as simple as like throwing out a few stickies, putting down a proximity, if you're able to, you know, maneuver behind the wave to cut it, and then what can you do? You know, the push is stopped. There's no creeps. The backdoor protection kicks in. This is just... You had to assume something like this was coming, right? Like, Lyle He performs best on his Spirit Heroes, in my opinion, and why not just pick the best Spirit Hero when paired together with this Pugner, which, I mean, both Mira and Miposhka play a pretty good Pugner as well.
Yep. Also, a bit of a block pick. I mean, Ankrad, I think, top 3 of his Heroes of the Storm, so...
You puck
that one out of the pool. I would say that's probably Ankrad's best hero, so it's just... You pick it up, you got multiple bands, look to then protect it. Actually gonna go the Void Spirit route. So another different way to address the Storm. I mean, again, like how we spoke about the puck matchup prior, that Void Spirit doesn't really offer too much control anymore without going like the Your Scepter route. So that's kind of one thing versus the Storm Spirit matchup. Like, you used to have a lot of control for him as the game goes on, but I still imagine like Storm doesn't have the greatest armor as the game goes on. The lane, yes, of course, but as the game goes on, Void might be able to blow him up.
I'd be really surprised if Beastmaster isn't removed here by Team Spirit. I really feel like it's something that they should be wanting. Maybe they think they can get it for themselves. I mean, Collapse plays a pretty good Beastmaster too. But just anything that's going to enable them to find the Pugner, I think, has to go. You know, like, this is one of those heroes that if you can get onto him, blow him up really quickly, right? It really hinders the effectiveness of the Storm in team fights. You actually only have your actual mana pool, not yours, plus whatever Pugner can give to you. And, yeah, I just feel like that's going to open up the window so much for Void Spirit to be able to make plays, because while you are still a right-clicker, you're also someone that does need to cast a fair amount in the middle of these team fights, and you don't want to be just getting chunked down by the Netherward either.
So you feel like the Beastmaster just enables the capability for you to hunt the Pugner?
Sure, I mean,
besides the other...
Picks up the pace, and you find the Pugner, and you kill the Pugner. I mean, this is something that both Mira and Miposhka are really good at, is their positioning. You know, it's very rare that they're giving up too many of their lives for free. It's either for... When they're dying, it's for a purpose, 9 times out of 10. You know, like either scouting a smoke, or... creating space across the map, and that's something that a Pugner is able to do, right? If Storm Spirit isn't capable of fighting right there, right now, just throw a Pugner onto one of the side lanes, few Nether Blasts into the tower, forces a rotation away, gives Storm Spirit time to be able to get into that next item, and then when Pugner respawns, because you're probably going to die for that sort of play, then you're good to go. So it's just about how you work about all of this as a team. I was kind of assuming that the Tidehunter was something... Again, I've still got in my mind that one move is going to go this aggressive route, so Team Spirit banning away the Tidehunter is kind of doing them a favor in that regard. I mean, maybe Team Spirit actually look to go down that avenue with them and now having the first pick of this next phase. I wouldn't hate seeing them go Beastmaster. You know, it's still going to pick up the pace. You know that you can get really aggressive with a Pugner and the Storm Spirit, and there's no Tidehunter to be able to just stand in front of a tower and stop you.
I think if they were going to go down that route, you might need to consider about a monkey ban. Just for
Monkey or
Munkushi.
Bloodseeker's gone already. Yeah.
Because I do think that's one of Munkushi's better heroes as well. We've seen him have a lot of success with the Monkey King, and they want to look to play aggressive and slow down the Beastmaster's tempo, then minimizing its effectiveness in the lane.
Can still just go axes though, right? So it'd be fine. I mean, it's the similar sort of thing with any edgy hero, to be honest, right? Beastmaster's still going to do okay, and then you can find the Monkey King in the trees with the Hawk as well, make his life a little bit more challenging. And Spirit really taking their time here with making some of these bans happen. I wonder what they're thinking. Like, what was their reasoning behind the Void Spirit pick? Could they maybe think that no, there's no Magnus coming out, one move banned that first phase?
It's probably a ban into an insta pick, which I would imagine now core with how long they're taking. I thought they were just going to pick their secondary support, but they're really trying to make sure, because often we have seen, right, where you can ban here and it doesn't reveal what you want to pick. So, I mean, maybe Enchantress ban, they might consider about a Lich for Miposhka. It's something they played, I think, in every single game versus BetBoom, at least 2. And I believe actually 3 of them, so...
Got to be careful about man fighting though. I mean, it would be into a taser, which, you know, if you're attacking while you've got the Frost Shield on, just dispels it off you, so that is something that you need to be mindful of. Well, you can't really attack with a decrep on you, I guess. Okay, just go down the safe route. It is a form of instant lockdown as well, and it also protects the tower somewhat. you think?
It just gives too much. Yeah, 100%. Is a really strong laner, offers you kill threat, gives you team fight. Like you said, has an instant stun, instant control. Not a lot of people have that. Like, that's huge. And
people sleep on the mana drain aspect as well. Like it's kind of, we didn't necessarily see it too much against the Deucer, but effective, right? You can basically drain 20% of Deucer's HP by just getting a full Sinister Gaze off on her.
And another thing is that they buffed it even more now with it addressing summon heroes in a way where it does 500 damage in 2 seconds. So I know there's none
right?
they're bursting right now, and and neutrals in general. So okay, what's going on? Carberry,
I guess a pause one void, but I mean, are they just going all out on universal heroes here? Do they think they need something else to be able to invade the backlines? Is it an offlane Ember Spirit with a Mirana pairing? Remaining. But then, you know, it really feels like Gilgir is the much better
5 seconds remaining.
Techies player. No, Gilgir Mirana actually. Gilgir Mirana's top tier. I don't know what they're doing, to be honest.
I still believe the Storm Spirit matchup versus Ember is slightly Storm favored. So I'm very intrigued on how Lyle is getting away with the early Storm pickup. If it's going to be Ember versus mid, Storm's going to have a fine time into that matchup. It was going to have fine time in general Void Spirit, but if you're flexing the Void, why have you gone for still a weaker lane into him? Regardless, so I mean, who knows? It could be some crazy offlane Ember, still play the Void mid. Who knows what the hell one move are going to pull out. I mean, looking for their last phase, but for Spirit, you've got an Underlord, so they kind of needed that beefy hero, right? Like the Aura Builder and someone just to sit in front of the Lich Storm and Pugna, because they are both, or all three are very, very squishy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're probably not going to get a ton of value out of something like a Crimson Guard this game, but certainly the Pipe is going to give you a lot. Certainly the Guardian Greaves is going to give you a lot just to be able to get you out of the route from the Ember Spirit chains. And just, you know, provide a little bit of a buff to the rest of the team. I mean, mana is what this team really looks to thrive on. Spirit now finally banning out the Beastmaster. I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I think the Storm Spirit is a much more favored matchup. And again, you're playing with a Pugna, so you're always going to be that one step ahead. You're able to farm more recklessly. You know, you don't need to conserve your mana in case there's a fight on the other side of the map. You need to TP. If Pugna's there, you're topped off. So, seems a little bit odd to me. Do I feel like they have the stuff to be able to kill an Underlord in lane as well? Techies, Void Spirit, maybe at like level 1, level 2, but beyond that, once he gets into that Ring of Health, it makes it a little bit more challenging. This might be one of those games where he just stays at the Ring of Health as well as he starts to build into the pipe.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on the... There's no way you buy Vanguard for the techies, right?
I don't think so. Not necessarily. Like, I guess you can disassemble it, but what are you really using the Vitality Booster for? Maybe you just sell it.
I don't remember what it builds into.
Nothing much. Heart. Octarine.
Octarine, yeah.
Yeah. Spirit Vessel, I guess. Yeah. But you're not doing that on the offlane.
Alright, so let's see. One move we're going to have to...
5 seconds.
Can I show their cards here with what route they're going down? Like you said, finally ban the Beastmaster. Let's see if they do another offlane ban, though.
Might be like a...
team pick.
Something like a DK or a Mars that they're considering. Just considering... They've banned Jug and Monkey King. 2 heroes that are pretty good with the Lich, but also 2 heroes that really look to bully out some of these heroes that provide a good amount of initial lockdown, and the Pugna and the Lich don't really have that much in the form of escape. A Brewmaster, alright. I mean, a Dispel against the, you think? Don't you just toss the Sven in the air?
The matchup goes back and forth, but once you get BKB and a little bit of damage, you just absolutely destroy the Brewlings. And I think it's a very strong lane as well, Lich Sven. And as far as I'm aware, Yatori really likes the hero. They played it a lot at the last major. One of the few that picked it up.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of carries left.
I want something with, like, I wouldn't hate maybe an Alchemist. Just something that's able to buy Blink Dagger and get onto the front lines. Because I think Lifestealer might be good for the lane, but you're just going to get kited around so much in the middle of the game, right? I don't think they have the chain lockdown to be able to kill the Brew before he splits. And Miranda's just going to leap away, Ember's going to run away, Void Spirit, and they do go that Sven. Good call. Provides a bit of protection to the supports as well, right? Just with the Warcry, meaning that Anchorite's not able to just slide a fist their way down. I mean, it's still a good Brewmaster game overall, right? Like, I think they need to be still playing on the front foot, right? That first split, I really don't think the Sven can turn up to it, right? Otherwise, because he's just going to get thrown up into the air, you're going to get the Dispel off onto the Frost Shield, onto the Decrep. I wonder if this is a game where Afterlife goes Ags as well, just so he has that permanent Storm Panda. I think it'd give them a lot of value, even just for something as simple as set up for an arrow, you know?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the brew build is currently. Is it what vessel into Ags? Like I'm not quite sure. Might need to
Gilgear
consider
might buy
about
the
a
vessel, or at least the urn, just for something to be able to proc the Cinder Brew. I mean, early on you can use the Blood Grenade for it, I suppose. But yeah, this is another one of those games where I said one move, need to play aggressively, and I still haven't gone away from that. It's not like they have any sort of super late game high ground sieging carry. They need to win a lot of these early skirmishes and use that to be able to break into the high ground. We'll have a lot of difficulty even taking a Roche fight, but well, we'll have to wait and see. We of course have to hear from EGB before we get into the action.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600, cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
I think the ultimate question I have is, do we feel like one move have gotten a bit too cute with their draft with all the swaps, as we see from EGB? Spirit, very favoured with the odds. At the moment, though, of course, that's able to change, but is this too cute? Flexing the Void to the safe lane, going for the Emperor for Ankrad.
Yeah, I think so. I think you always got to give yourself that get out of jail free card, right? And you know, if you go all in onto this like hyper early game, Luna Marcy Visage sort of strategy where you can just absolutely ball down a lane and just end the game in 20 minutes, go off, right? But I feel like they're going to have a lot more difficulty doing that this game, and a big part of that is that Sven that you rightly called towards the end of that draft, right? You just pop the Warcry, you've got a lot more protection against the Void Spirit, who Munkushi wants to be able to just chunk through some of these supports, you know, just get into his level 18, Astral Step through them a couple of times, and they're just dead.
I really wonder when Yutori is going to consider about buying the Ag Shard.
The battle begins.
He might not even, and hopefully they just potentially get one move's Tormentor as well, so then it'll help Spirit find his like earlier on, because I think there's a lot of value out of his Ag Shard this game. You've got the Brew to purge it off, but really, I mean, we're looking at third item Nullifier from Munkushi. You're going to go Echo, Manta. I have to imagine it's Manta, and we've seen that pretty often. There's some value potentially against the Orchid from Lowell, although we see that on some Storms, not really, but it's really just the pit and the stats that it gives you.
It's just a ton of stats, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's such a core build-up in general, the Nullifier from the Void Spirit, and I don't imagine it's going to be any different from the carry, so I really do wonder when Yutoro is going to consider about going the Shard, or again, maybe they can just hopefully get lucky and take the Tormentor away from one move and make it easier for him.
Maybe. I mean, it's not like... gotta be careful up here on Gilgear. They actually popped the Blood Grenade onto him as well, but I'm sure it'll be enough to allow them to catch. Never mind. Second use of that Frost Blast.
Man, did you see Yutoro sidestep there? How he avoided the Thunderclap? Just beautiful read. Afterlife ran straight into the lane. Got the clap onto Miposhka, but it didn't matter because Miposhka already used his round spells along with the Blood Grenade, so very nice sidestep. Helps him find first blood, and this is a lane that's going to be able to continue to play super aggressive.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got so much kill threat just through the stun. A couple of slows as well on Miposhka. Gotta be very careful on Gilgear especially as well. I mean, before he's level 2, he's always going to be very vulnerable. Probably not going to step as far forward anymore. I think he's going in the mid lane. Lyle looks like he's doing just fine. Obviously, already building up a tiny lead over the Ember Spirit, but I'm just having to think of if there is going to be too much of that rotation coming through from the supports towards the mid lane, because Techies, Lich, they're not exactly the best rotators, you know? Got Mapochka blocking up the camp on the top side, but yeah, they feel like these heroes that just want to stick in the lane, make sure the cores have a good time. Maybe once Collapse gets into his Vanguard, he'll be okay. He's actually going to go that Vanguard full build.
Well, that kill is
just
going
to enable Mirror, right?
Just so Mirror can maybe leave and play separate
Play with
lanes
Storm.
and do his own stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I think Mirror's obviously a big part of Pugna now as a position 4 especially is the XP that you get from being able to stack, right? And if you've got someone that you can just confidently leave them in the lane, know that they're not going to die, means that he's able to build up a ton of those, and then you can look to take them with someone like the Sven, who, with the God Strength, of course, is just able to absolutely rip through them, gets you an early level 6, means that you're able to play together with the Storm.
You might even give the stacks over to Lyle as well, considering he's going to be kind of the playmaker early on to make space for the Sven. So, of course, the Ancients go to him, but maybe the hard camp we might see Lyle given priority over, who is continuing to have a very good time mid lane. And you're a hero that has a bunch of armor, so you don't really mind about the slight spam. You play into a melee matchup, so the static remnant, the overload can be very frustrating. And we still got kills bottom lane. Finally, they'll be able to get collapse. And Kushi, along with Phantom, take a decent chunk of damage though. Barry's gonna try and get back. Kushi might be in some danger. Resonant Pulse up in a couple of seconds if he needs a physical barrier, but won't even be required. If they got any regen though, the Lotus and a couple tangos as well, so it looks like he should be fine.
A little surprise from Collapse there. He didn't use the 6 charges on the magic stick, maybe just assuming that he was completely dead, but would have had to been some perfect coordination coming through from Munkushi and Panto.
Actually,
There is
starting
a
to
4-minute mark. So yeah,
Yeah.
the support's all converging around that mid lane. Mapochka, it's a risky place for him to be for sure. No 1 point in the Searing Chains just yet. Might have been able to get the kill combination off there, but Gilgear actually doesn't even have the Sacred Arrow, maybe being spooked by that previous death in the top lane. Gotta say, overall though, Team Spirit, pretty happy with how things are turning out right now. Already built up a 1k net worth lead for themselves. Not if he goes that deep.
Phantom will also trade his life. I mean, Collapse is dying, but Munkushi's not farming at all. Only 10 last hits for the Void Spirit. He spent, seems like a decent chunk of his gold on Regen. I believe that's his self that he's just popped. So even though with those 2 deaths, he's only 200 gold behind the Underlord.
Doesn't feel too great, and again, this isn't a lineup that looks to take those stacks.
Another round of the blast coming up shortly. It's level 2 as well. Just slow him there. Oh, he got it off the cleave, your Toro. Oh my god, this guy. Oh, now that's a big one. Pantomime rotating mid. Ankrat didn't have the level 6 nor the chains, but it wasn't even required. Beautifully done. Seeing kills in the side lane, but finally, mid's gonna spill some blood as well.
Tactical death by Panto in that bot lane, right? Used all of his mana, used all of his HP, died to the Pugna. Who cares? Just allows you to get towards this mid lane, and he's going to stick around as well. Lyle starts to come back in. Still 10 seconds, though, until they've got the blast off available, but look at this rotation from Gilgear as well. Ooh.
What?
Doesn't get hit by the arrow. What a chat, he just stood in place.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, what? Who just stands still like that? That's crazy, actually. Alright. Very interesting. Yotaro went phase boots.
Okay. I mean, we were saying that they are going to have a little bit of difficulty catching, right? Like, I think... To me, this is a question of, like, when does he feel confident to truly join into these team fights?
Well, this doesn't look like for Lyle. Oh, alright. Maybe it does. What a vortex timing. I was going to say, Ankrat had 6 and Lyle wasn't 6 just yet. Vortex was able to cancel up the jump. Lyle now... Oh, he doesn't. He's 4 experience away. Having the level 6 to look to play with. Ankrat, though, with the double damage rune. Wanting to get aggressive, and they might run into Mapochka with Gilgear nearby. Point blank arrow is going to be on the mark.
Could have probably got the kill onto Gilgear. He's completely out of mana, even though he's got those 3 leap charges, even being given over a bottle sip by Ankrat to be able to enable him to continue staying out on the map. We're talking about the the potential for taking those stacks on one move, they don't really have it that strongly. Right? Like,
Radiant's
it's
courier has been
going
killed.
to take, I don't know, at least the Maelstrom on Ankrad before he's able to do anything in that regard. Where's Pugna looking to play? Mira already level 5. Look to stick around with Munkushi. He has to be careful with his positioning, though. Doesn't want to give his life away for free. Just picked up the raindrops, which might end up saving him here. Kushi's out of mana. Should be fine, though. Poshka, though.
Poshka's nearby as well. Might catch him off guard. And try and pop the one charge to get the step away. Meanwhile, Pantsman actually wants to jump in. Doesn't seem like he has enough damage though to get the kill onto Mira, so Pugna's going to be able to slip out of danger. Meanwhile, Miposhka's still looking to try and snipe down Munkushi. Maybe actually wants to drop Division instead, so Spirit, but it can hit back bottom lane, and they're not really too worried about Yatoro. With this Sven 3 points up in the cleave, can easily fall back into the jungle.
I'm pretty sure Collapse spared him over the Lotus there to enable the Pugna to live, just so that they were able to get that kill without Mira dying, so if so, very nicely done.
Wisdom Room department, looks like Miposhka got his, and Gilgir was able to get one moves as well.
So you're pretty happy here if you're Mira, right? Level 5.5, might even be given over a little bit of this experience in the mid lane, never mind. Slal just comes back saying, you know what, I haven't gotten into my early item timings yet, just the Falcon Blade for now. Not sure if he really needed the Falcon Blade though, right? Like maybe something like the Power Treads Rush would have been a little bit better, considering you have the Pugna to be able to play around with.
I'm pretty sure the Falcon Blade, at least from what I've heard, is still core. The health is really nice.
With the Pugna?
200 health. Yeah, I think so.
Ember strength now rekindled.
Man, he's 700 behind. That kill really hurt Lars lane. I'm surprised that, I mean, Ankrad's got 2 kills as well, I suppose. We also saw him get Miposhka previously, so what are we hoping the Ember to do with this really good start then?
I'm just thinking, where can he even look to make a rotation to? We haven't seen a Primal Split out of Afterlife yet. Maybe they just want to get some value out of that. He's just finished his Arcane Boots, starting to shove the lane. So maybe just force a rotation towards this mid lane. And when that happens, move up towards top. Might just be able to take mid as well off the back of this. Miposhka has to be careful about how far forward he's going, and it looks like he might be paying with his life for it. Although, well off the mark by Gilgir, surprisingly.
And now Ankrad takes 3 tower hits as well, so maybe Lars going to see an opportunity to try and zip on forward. Pantsman will hold them back for the moment, so at least they're going to be forced to turn to get the techies. A lot of damage. We cast it out before his death, so Spirit won't be able to continue with the chase on their initial target, which was Ankrad.
Won't be able to get the tier 1 tower as well before that 10-minute mark, so remember I was talking about that being a fairly decent thing just because it would let you go up towards top again, play around that Primal Split, which they haven't quite been able to just yet. I'll say though, Afterlife, he is having a very good time up here farming, but I mean, it's a 1v1 farm fest between him and the Sven. You would have to say Yatoro feels fairly satisfied as well, just being able to sit back with that Mask of Madness and pick up a lot of that farm for himself.
I'm gonna try and see them look to finally play with the Brewmaster, even Munkushi wants to head to the top lane. Yatoro does spy up the Void Spirit. First step's gonna be off the mark. Afterlife might be forced to pop the ultimate from afar if they want to close the distance. Maybe the arrow, but Josh shy once again, so...
With this pace, Lal gets to take that hard camp, so he looks to build that one up. Miposhka stacked all of this, plus he's standing nearby, so he's getting the double experience value from it. Brings himself up to level 6. Pugna was able to sit mid lane, so that's level 6 for Mira. This feels like they might be enabled shortly. I think the Tranquil Boot's just coming out to Mira right now on the Courier too, so he's going to be perfectly healthy. Still give up this mid tier 1 though, off the back of what one move we're able to do in the previous couple of minutes from like 8 to 9.5. Look at Mira, he's even soaking up more of that XP as Yatoro looks to pick up the farm, and yeah, really this feels like the point where Sven, he can't fight, he's still looking to get into that Echo Saber, BKB, then the Blink Dagger. That's really where Team Spirit are going to press their go button.
And you see the comparison between... Oh, connected. Nicely done. I mean, Miposhka and Mira are both nearby, and this is where the levels are going to come into play. That's really the point I was just about to highlight. You compare the levels, like still both supports and Radiant are 5, Mirror is 7, but Poshka is 6, so they're ready to go on Spirit.
As they should. They make this 3-man smoke. You got to be a little bit mindful of this on Mkushi. 1 point in the Pit of Malice on Collapse. Really just the behavior to not give away anything as to whether a gank might or might not be coming. She gives Overwood placed down by Poshka on the way down there. Just looking to try and force a defense out of one move as he looks to push into this tower, but it seems like they've done a pretty good job of reading it.
Never refuse gold.
Standing right underneath him is Overwood. Mkushi placed it himself previously.
They should know. Well,
They do now. The Obserward run the Twin Gate.
yeah, but so I think that, yeah, there we go. I was going to say, I feel like you should know that one move dropped that ward considering how he reacted as soon as the Pugna smoke popped, so... Able to get the D-ward, nice read from Miro.
But I mean, you still got the tower, right? Not the worst. Means that the Sven has a little bit more of an avenue to be able to play around the bottom side if he wants to. I mean, I guess you are playing with a Storm Spirit, so Roshan is always going to be a useful tool. Maybe Team Spirit are going to angle to play around the top side in this next little bit. You know, Roche spawning there in 2 minutes. They still have their tier 1 tower to take up on the top side. No real value out of mid tier 1 this game, I feel, for Team Spirit, at least in the very early goings. He's a little bit away from the rest of the team, though. Just doing his job, shoving in bottom a little bit. Means that he's going to be able to walk away from this gank, though.
Running to collapse, yeah. The odds before this was currently favoring Team Spirit, but off the back of the pickoff might be able to help them out a little bit. One move. It's going to take some time, though. Collapse is a beefy boy. Mkushi nearby, hopefully he's going to be able to pump in the damage. Collapse hasn't gone down just yet. This is so much space. I mean, Spirit, they're surely getting something else out of that. They were making an attempt at the techies, but with the Moonlight Shadow pants him, able to duck under the cover of the invis, and meanwhile Afterlife is okay as well. So finally they were able to get the kill, but it did take them quite some time.
It did. I mean, to me, oh, big zip towards the bottom side. They might be able to steal away the Wisdom Rune on Gilgear while they're looking to make this sort of play, but you just see Lyle makes one attempt, doesn't get him any sort of power rune, but Mira's right there to make sure he's fighting fit. Also equaled up his levels with Ankarad. A little bit behind in net worth, but that's just because Sven is looking to take the majority of the farm in the jungles at this point in time. And yeah, Gilgear looking to rectify that that situation in terms of the support levels, now bringing himself up to level 7, almost level 8. Techie's level 8, almost level 9, so actually leapfrogged what Team Spirit were able to do off the back of a stolen away Wisdom Rune.
Who do you feel like is happier with the status quo that we have currently in this game 1?
I'm just trying to think of, like, to get in the minds of Spirit, right? Because they can't take any objectives until Yatoro is there, right? And he just doesn't want to be there yet. I'm sure they would love to maybe slow down what Ember Spirit's able to do, just so that he's not as capable of harassing the support. Mira's actually might be the one getting targeted here.
At least Lyle's going to be able to survive, though. That's the main thing. You won't mind about a Pugna going down with all these heroes committing inside Dire's jungle. Even with the Primal Split used as well. Afterlife still trying to hunt Lyle, but further leap away, he's going to be okay. Man, that's a deep attempt. They are chilling.
Collapse used the Fiend's Gate, but didn't actually go in, realizing that, you know what am I actually going to provide to it other than maybe a natural Fiora? He just had the mech delivered. And he is going into that Greaves and the Pipe afterwards. Really feel like he's going to be disassembling that Vanguard. This was much more of a laning stage sort of thing, just allowed to stay on this side of the map. Well, he did die previously, but not that big a deal.
I kind of would like to see Mkushi consider about getting involved in fights, or at least be farming in an avenue where he might be able to rotate to some. Like, I think this is... You're not going to out-farm a Sven, and we're obviously seeing that in the net worth. Yatoro is continuing to further his lead over the opposition's position 1, and... yes, you're playing as a carry,
it's a different
but...
sort of game. It's a different sort of game if you're playing with a Magnus, right? Versus what the situation currently is. Like, you do not have that story.
This is a huge kill. He's pretty beefy though, 2100 health they've got to go through, and now Pantsman with the jump in as well, and the backline blasts off onto twos, not enough to keep the Brew alive, and now Low He can look to tear apart the supports, but he won't have an answer to Aincrad. The Ember Spirit be able to get a secondary support. Now Lyle's still in a bit of trouble. Doesn't have too much mana to work with. Collapse is starting to tip into the outpost. Let's see if he's going to be in time, though, to keep his mid laner alive.
And he's not.
Mechanism comes out too late, and our Collapse, he might be in some danger as well. What has Aincrad still got to work with? Munkushi as well is out of ultimate charges. Collapse a beefy boy. They're still going to make the attempt. It's going to be a slow, painful wear down of the Underlord. He's actually going to try and bring the boys in with the Rift as well, but they'll come too late. Yatoro, he'll enter through. He's going to have enough though by himself. Munkushi out to the right. Yatoro doesn't have any mobility now to close the distance, but still the respawns are coming up. Team Spirit, they're going to be able to provide the +1 to potentially help out if a further fight does break out. One move we're ready for it. Even Afterlife was back in the area with the Primal Split ready to go, but looks like Spirit will back out.
The big winner of that is Afterlife, right? Sure, he dies on the initial, but he gets tons of assist gold and brings him ever so closer towards that Aghanim Scepter. So only about 200 or so gold away. I've already mentioned the insane amount of value that it's going to provide against the Underlord, just to be able to provide a Dispel for the Root, against the Frost Shield, against the Decrepify, against the War Cry. So much benefit being provided from that consistent Dispel.
Nice gaze. Still low. Oh my god, he got the illusion! What a timing for the Rune. Dodges out the arrow as well, and now they're gonna hunt. Yutori's even wanting to get involved as well, but the ultimate's still on cooldown. I don't think they're going to have enough damage to get rid of Afterlife before the Primal Split. They're still going to make the attempt, another turnaround. Even Munkushi wants to rotate over as well. With a bit of Malice inside the choke point, it might enable the retreat, but they haven't addressed Aincrad. This Ember Spirit's damage is starting to ramp up. And Afterlife goes down, though. One move want nothing to do with this fight. And force a retreat, Munkushi and his Spirit brother back to the safety of the Tier 1 tower.
I mean, the thing that Spirit are going to be happiest about, though, was that they did force out that Primal Split. I mentioned before that he was only about 200 gold away from the Ags on the Brewmaster, but he's completely halted in terms of his net worth progression. He's gone backwards, not any closer towards the level 12 as well, just for that extra couple of seconds on the Primal Split.
I mean, they'll force out the BKB, they're happy with that. I honestly didn't see through that fight. He died in Primal Split, yeah? He didn't.
Yes.
It didn't expire. That's a huge concern if you're dying 90 minutes in Split, because it's not going to get any easier with the Sven. So usually
Well, that's
the
why the
early
level
games
2 is so important, right? Like, you get legitimately 900 more HP just
true.
from the Earth Ruling alone.
It's pretty close to it. Just needs 1/3 of the way there. Spirit, though, feel like they've been starting to build up a decent chunk of momentum. I mean, still really, for me, all my attention's on Aincrad. Like, this is having a hell of a game one, but is it going to be enough to get them over the finish line?
We always feel like we're saying that in these games, aren't we? You know, Aincrad popping off, but somehow all the pieces don't come together. And for this one, in Munkushi, he did join that fight, so he did do the thing that you were mentioning previously, but is it enough? Afterlife.
See you. Microing out your Storm Pender is going to get yourself caught out inside the river. Spirit, beautifully done. They TP'd lower to the mid lane to try and defend, and then they smoke behind him. Sweeping across the map, kind of dangling his own life, so they'll be rewarded with the kill. Fortunately, they don't get the power in as well, but now they're going to look to invade. So taking over a little bit of farm as well, getting some vision down.
Might be able to backdoor the tier 1, yoink away the 21-minute timing Wisdom Rune, take away the Tormentor. Seems like that might be the case. Sven still TPing back, but you've got a Pugner, 3 points in the Nether Blast. That's plenty to be able to rip through this one. We're actually going to make some TPs to be able to defend here. Sven's not with him.
This is not looking like a good fight for Spirit, but the God Strength being over. What's the call going to be? Lars going to try and make the attempt on Aincrad, but an instant remnant away. He's okay for the moment. Meanwhile, Collapse wants to go through the rift, but I'll stop him short. Great micro from Afterlife. Collapse is still alive for the moment. Meanwhile, over to the right side, Aincrad's proving to be a huge issue against Team Spirit still. He's going to be able to get the kill. 2 for 2. Back to Collapse we go. Finally, they'll chunk through the full health pool of the Underlord. A little bit greedy there from Spirit. Thought the 4 heroes were going to be enough to get the tier 1 tower. Yutoro wanted to try and farm the lane. They split up, and as a result, one move, they're going to be alive fast enough to defend that and get some kills.
Yeah. They also keep their Wisdom Rune as well off the back of that. So Anchorad, I mean, he's having such a phenomenal game. Level 14, so keeping up with everyone, with the exception of Yatoro. Still deathless. This game is the Sven, but I mean, this is what you want out of the mid laner, creating a ton of space and doing it without that Pugna steroid to be able to play around with. All he really needs is that BKB now, and then he's just going to be completely free to go in onto the back lines. Also getting the level 10 on Afterlife. Very important now, just to provide a little bit more survivability for the Brewlings.
Mikushi? Okay, he's alright. Ooh, arrow. He went in! I don't blame him with an arrow connecting like that. Beautifully done in our low. Kane's gonna be on the mark. Sets up for Pentamon's blast off as well as the control gonna be enough. Low. Not better for a dip away, but it's not too far. If they get a glimpse, they might go. Also, there's a medic. Back to full. Back to fighting shape, and now Yatoro.
Doesn't pop the God Strength just yet, and he does have the Blink Dagger available, but has to be very careful about this Storm Panda, of course. During the time when it's relatively close to Afterlife, it does have that invis and does have its full movement speed, so once it gets that BKB off, like, it basically means that Team Spirit need to be the one making the jump from here on out. It's why I was so adamant about something like the Beastmaster, just to be able to provide that backline information, because Yatoro wants to be jumping now with the Blink Dagger, God Strength. He wants to be blowing up someone like the Brute, honestly, just to be able to enable all of these buffs over time that they have. Even the Storm Spirit wants that same sort of capability. So we will have to have a look at what the vision game looks like right now for Spirit. Kind of defensive, you know, maybe they can look to play around Collapse if he gets jumped on. Actually, there we go. Someone finally gets isolated a little bit, and Lyle makes sure Gilgear knows about it. But at any time, they could look to connect through to Collapse. You know, all he needs to do is just lay down a Dark Rift, so I kind of want to see him continue to play down bot here.
And well, with him playing
Just did.
down to this area, it's going to help him get the kill into Pantomim. Or is even going to be able to come through the rift as well. Panto will do what he can to delay the kill. Nonetheless, it's going to be an easy one at that. Yatoro is even acting as a blockade just in case any more reinforcements start to swing down to this bottom side of the map. And now with those 2 kills, Spirit should be able to get a decent chunk of damage in this bottom tower. In fact, they'll probably claim it without the glyph.
Yeah. Wasn't the perfect rift. It kind of felt like a snap click onto the minimap and hoping it was on point, but it still allowed most of the team to be able to join in with enough time. So this is the sort of value that they want to get out of the God Strength, but you know, it does potentially open up a bit of a window for when the techies is back alive for them to go for a play of their own. You also do need to consider how much do one move feel they're close to hitting some of their timings. Gilgear almost getting into the Guardian Greaves, Techies almost has the Solar Crest. It's these sorts of things that really feel like not much, but it's so huge towards their prospects in the later stages. Even Void Spirit getting closer to the old Nullifier.
So what Potion's going to be able to do to protect Collapse? Mikushi is going to try and separate the two to make it easier on the kill into the Underlord. Still, Collapse is beefy. A lot of attention put towards the Underlord, which means that Spirit should be able to trade the life, but hasn't gone down just yet. Oh, now is the one that's in some trouble. Should be able to get the zip away, however. I mean, Maposhka lives. Mikushi didn't have the damage to secure that kill, but of course, made a lot of space so the rest of the boys could finally address Collapse's Underlord. 6 deaths this game for Collapse.
He has kind of played that role, though, right? Of just, hey, come and kill me. And he's tried to make himself as beefy as possible as they make a quick jump onto Gilgear. Once again, popping the God Strength. Afterlife just tossing him into the air. Again, no BKB used preemptively, but he can just keep the push going. Might look to stick around this mid lane, knowing the fact that they've got the vision advantage, they've got even the high ground covered. Scan off to make sure they know where Yatoro is. Doesn't seem like he wants to continue to commit to take that tier 2 tower for now, even with the Mirana dead and Collapse respawning. Really feels like that pipe is going to be so influential for Collapse, though. If he's able to finish that one up, just a ton of passive resistance coming through from that. It used to be 30. What's it down to now? 20. So actually quite a big magic resistance reduction coming from that.
And this is Spirit. Spy up Pantomim inside the lane. Raiding nearby to try and offer some assistance, but it's just Munkushi by the looks of it. Afterlife
Radiant's top tower.
is going to continue farming. So yeah, I mean, with that tower going down, especially now, it's going to make it free for them to claim Roche. You got 35 seconds with a 4v5. For me, I feel like one move, you're just looking to try and avoid the next couple of minutes. If Munkushi can get this nullifier, it's going to be a huge item for them to be able to address the supports, but I actually want to try and take the fight.
Going into this, I'm not quite so sure. Maybe if they can kill the Lich to be able to start things off, Arrow's just going to connect onto Collapse.
Love to be able to get the Wind Panda. It's going to come back off cooldown pretty shortly here from Afterlife. Oh, never mind. Sorry, 70 seconds. How do you enter the pit?
God Strength. Yasuo got arrowed. Not going to commit though. Yeah. So big rotations came through while you had a one-man disadvantage. You didn't know the God Strength with the pop previously. Anchorat could have potentially picked up farm, pushed that bottom tier 1 tower, and completed his Shivas off the back of that.
Yatoro, just gonna say, he's showing bottom lane, so they're gonna go instantly on one move. He can always get rifted in though.
They're going to be mindful for that. Might even be the catalyst for wanting to find Collapse first. It's pretty rare that you see an Underlord the furthest back, but they know they can't afford to give him up for free.
Arrow? Oh, just passes by Miposhka though. First point of contact, they're going to try and target down with the Lich. Blast off from downtown. Finally, they'll secure with a kill onto Lich, but look how deep they're taking this team fight right out front of the tier 3 tower. Oh, he zipped into the arrow. No, is it going to be enough though? Still okay. Of course, he's playing with the Aegis as well, but he's out of mana. So trying to turn Yatoro's been able to show up to the fight as well. So now finally with the Sven, probably force one move to retreat out of the area. Pantomim, another arrow connecting. Is the magnet so far from Lyle, but the damage is just lacking one move. All these heroes are ever so close. Collapse even slips out of danger. Now Yatoro just rips them apart. Deals with Munkushi, looks over to Afterlife next as well. With all the mana that Lyle gets off the back of the respawn, it can zip over the top and cancel the retreat as Collapse will hold the Brewmaster into place. Was such a deep attempt from one move. They saw Yatoro on the opposite side of the map, but it just took them too long to get into the middle, and it seems like they've got a huge lack of damage. I mean, you mentioned inside that fight, all the auras from Collapse is proving to be a really big issue now for one move.
I'm not seeing I've been looking at the Primal Companion a lot of the time, and I haven't really been seeing too much of the Dispel magic. I mean, this is why you picked the hero. This is why you went an early use of the Aghanim Scepter. They're going to see Yatoro farming inside of the Ancients camp, but again, like, you've just lost it. He can afford to play in places where he feels like they might actually know that he's around. And, well, he's actually looking to potentially go into the Aghanim Shard as well, so providing even more of that passive protection to the rest of the boys. I mean, he's doing a great job already in protecting the mirror as well, just with the use of the solo decrep a lot of the time, valuing his own life, realizing how much of like a taunt target he is, I suppose, because of how valuable he is to be able to, you know, provide a lot of that extra security to the rest of his team. A lot longer to kill Lyle than it probably should have, but all the while he still had the Aegis for all of it. He's got a full BKB coming out to him now, I think, as well. Never mind Scythe of Vice on Lyle, he just bought it out fully.
Well, maybe the lack of damage, at least on one target, might not be there anymore now with Munkushi having this nullifier. Plus, it's going to get rid of a lot of the extra value that the auras will provide. Still, there'll be a little bit, but we'll see if that's going to be enough.
Afterlife's almost got Vlad's. That's a big damage buff as well. Doesn't enable them to take those more lengthy team fights as well. Just off the back of some of the lifesteal coming through. I was a little surprised that Anchorat did back off in that fight when he did. I mean, he was very close to being able to secure that kill onto Collapse. He's got a nullifier on his own. On the Underlord, not exactly the most traditional.
What? Oh, no. Munkushi! Okay. Well, he was going to go down as well. 60 seconds with a buyback. That's the first death for Anchorat, and see, one death, and that's going to cost you gravely. Full set of barracks probably going to be claimed now.
Radiant's
Arrow's
bottom
on
tower
point, but
has fallen.
they cannot take this fight. Anchorite has been the vast majority of your damage up to this point. They even make sure that they get rid of that Storm Panda, so no Primal Companion for Afterlife for the next little bit. Doesn't want to commit the Primal Split at this point.
Radiant's bottom barracks
Trying to act like a real hero on the back lines.
Radiant's bottom
That
barracks
Manta
are under
illusion
attack.
was Mukushi. Pushes him back for a second, but they're still going to lose the melee racks.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
You just see how quick Yatoru is to be able to make the jump, right? Sees people in the wrong place at the wrong time and just bang, right in on top of them. He's even
Again, though,
completely
we
sold the
Oh. Sorry, finish your point.
Oh, he sold the Mask of Madness. Farming time's over. He even sold the Mask of the Morbid Mask. Still keeping the quarterstaff to be able to build into the Orchid, but you know it's all about aggression now. It's not about farming, passive play. Yatoru feels like I'm online. I'm the true core of this game. Anyone that we jump on, they're just dead.
Well, he can't be here for this fight. They saw him TP top and the Fiend's Gate's on cooldown. So once again, I mean, this has happened multiple times this game, where Yatoru's TP'd to the opposite side of the map, and maybe one member of Spirit has stuck around just for a little bit too long. Like, 4 members tried to retreat together, but Laps was the one person left behind, so nice read from one move.
It's one of the disadvantages of playing, a hero like Sven versus a Manta-style buyer, right? Where you can actually use just the illusions to push out some of these waves. He needs to commit his full body onto it, and they see him, anytime he's got the war cry, you're absolutely certain that is the real Yatoro playing up on the top side. He's close to finishing up a Bloodthorn though, so not that they had issues being able to blow targets up before, but this just makes it an absolute certainty. Nullifier after the fact, right? Looks like he's going for it on Yatoro. Collapse nearly finished it up for himself as well.
Radiant are scanning.
Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Coming soon for one move, unless someone gets picked off first. Lyle, too aggressive, but maybe Panto just with that sticky bomb revealing his position, allowing him to get on out, and they instantly make smoke of their own. Once again, knowing that Collapse, he does have the Fiend's Gate up this time. He's able to join at any time and not wanting to reveal on the map either. Not wanting to give up any sort of that free information.
Oh, I'm drawn.
Wrap around. Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to be on the mark as well. One move just leaving their triangle. They will see the Cory though flying past.
And the bomb. They stepped on a Techie's mind too. They're setting up
So
for
if they
this.
can, I think they got a glimpse of Ankrad. They're well aware. Pinging out the high ground Yatoro though. Still smoke pops.
How quick is Gil Gear on his ultimate as well? He's got the evasion. There we go.
Yatoro. They're pinging him. Scary positioning Yatoro. Oh, he reveals himself. Just onto the Wind Panda though. That could have been devastating. In close proximity area like that. If you group up on one move and Yatoro starts to get the cleave going, that could have just been game. See another day. It's 8,000 deficit for them, so still not out of reach, but we really have felt this momentum just completely swing for a decent chunk of this game now. It might have been jump pantomime. They get a glimpse of the tech is instantly. Yatoro look to get on top of him, no doubt on their mind that they see a freebie.
Looking to try and take away as much of this control. They're actually going to smoke and make an aggressive move. I mean, they didn't pop really anything on Team Spirit. They might even see some of these creeps in the mid lane being
So have a good ward.
up. They do.
It's gone now though. Ankrad. They'll start into Maposhka. Mukushi with the follow-up as well. They're all just standing around each other trying to protect the supports at Yatoro. Oh, he just got rid of Ankrad instantly. Couple of swipes. Finally cycling up in the air, but the damage has been dealt. And now the Brewlings are gone as well. This is the thing about the Sven. Against the late game Brewmaster, if you can get the right clicks going, they will not survive long.
Not indeed. Even with that BKB all the way down to 6 seconds, it's enough. Yatoro just needs time to be able to remove one of those key heroes from the game, and well, I feel like maybe he's gone at one item a little bit too late with the BKB on the Ember Spirit, meaning that he doesn't have that same level of kiting potential, especially going up against this this Bloodthorn as well.
Able to sidestep the area now with the rift in. Yatoro, a double stun onto both supports as they were trying to answer up the high ground, but not to be. Lyle's going to be a little bit cautious. Out of mana, but
Hey, he's got
Medic
his boy.
near it, nearby. Don't worry, brother. I got you. You're not going to go down. Yatoro finds a triple. In the end, a 5-man wipe. Now they can look to go for the finishing blow. Barracks soon to be exposed. Mid lane is their objective.
I mean, Afterlife with the Storm Bruling. Just delaying the inevitable right now. Level 25 as well on Collapse. Collapse on Yatoro.
Has fallen.
Just to pop it, went the extra God Strength damage as well at level 25. Might even consider going for the tier 4 push, but tier 2 tower top doesn't have that backup protection. Not that it would have been able to
Radiant's top
withstand
tower has
a
fallen.
big sword coming through from the Sven either.
Let's go for Megas, maybe 35 seconds. I mean, don't know that Munkushi doesn't have a buyback. Maybe they do. They see bought out Ultimate on Cornucopia. He's just going to jump in. Who cares about the potential buyback? They'll just go for Afterlife before the response is there. Pantomime now buries his own grave. Yatoro beyond godlike, and G's are dropped as well.
He completed the
Nice
Aeon
one.
Disc after he died just because of how quickly they were able to chunk him down. It's one of those things where like you rely on yourself to be able to have those quick fingers in the middle of a fight, but when you think, holy shit, I've got a Sven on top of me, you know, sometimes that's not what immediately comes to mind. And well, this is it, right? Team Spirit, you give them time to be able to scale into that mid to late game, and they're going to punish you. You know, this is, you know, not the Spirit that gives up game 1s anymore. We might still get a game 2 given up, but they've come to play. And they want to make sure that they stamp their ticket to the Bali Major with a series victory. And I mean, this is the way to do it. One move, I think they kind of not outdrafted themselves. I liked the Ember, I liked the Brewmaster, I liked the Techies, I liked the Mirana, but the Void Spirit kind of was where it went a little bit shaky, you know? Like, they didn't have that hero to be able to respond to Yatoro. They didn't have really any sort of hero to be able to take towers. The fact that they were able to get the ones that they were is just credit to their own individual play, but in terms of the overall strategy, it was Team Spirit coming out on top.
Must say as well, Yatoro is in some red hot form right now. I mean, this is multiple games we've casted and seen from him so far where they've given him ultra last pick and he has just put the team on his back. I mean, it was a great Sven performance. It wasn't really this game where it was just the individual, but just the call from him. We really felt the value out of the Sven in this game. You know, he finished 10, 0, and 8. So this is a scary
Only
thing.
one
'Cause
Deathless.
yeah, I mean, which is crazy. Which is Spirit just with a performance like that. You know, this is going to be a difficult team to be able to overcome, and especially when they have the second pick as well. So I mean, that for me, that's honestly where my attention is going to be. Where's the pick priority heading into this next game? Because if Spirit once again have second pick and have this ultra last pick, and if Yatoro gets it, he quite often has this hero pool, and at least I should say game
He can play
knowledge on
anything.
what he can play anything, and he knows on what hero he wants to play in the specific game, and honestly in a lot of those games he's able to take over with that 24th pick, and this game is no different as well. So Spirit, like you said, it's another series now. It's been 2 series in a row where they've been able to break this game 1 curse of them, but every single series has gone the distance. So we'll see if that trend will continue or if they're going to be able to take down one move in 2-0 fashion. We'll find out after the break.